They call me Squirrel. What's going on, Squirrel Squad? It's your boy, the Squirrel. This is the Wandering Ravens. I've done a video by these folks before. It was pretty good, actually, really good. And my understanding is they're not making videos anymore, which really kind of stinks. But this one I've had sitting for a little while, and then I saw it pop up in my feed a couple times. Other reactors have been hitting it, and I was like, I forgot all about that one. I dug way back and was like, yeah, I've got a bunch of videos of theirs saved, actually. Things people have asked for, things I thought would be cool. So I'll probably start doing more of these folks as we go forward. But this is Culture Shock in England. 10 things that shock Americans. Americans in England. USA versus England. I mean, the culture comparison videos are always great. And if this is a shocking thing, I would like to see. I'm gonna keep a shock, not shocked score. I'm gonna keep a scorecard here. Shock, it's an S. Not shocked, an S. Let's see the 10 things. If I'm shocked or not shocked by them, I have a bit of an advantage. I've been reacting to a lot of British stuff. Let's see. Let's give it a whirl. Are you ready? I guess I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Let's do this. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
And today we are going to tell you 10 things that were culture shock for us when we arrived here in England.
The first thing that shocked us when we arrived in England was just how many foreigners there are in London.
We'd always heard that London was multicultural, but just the extent of foreigners that were there was really shocking to us. And not in a bad way. It was just surprising because when we were coming to England, we're like, oh, there's probably gonna be a lot of English people and we'll be hearing lots of English. But when we were in public, about 90% of the languages we were hearing around us were foreign languages and not English.
This is going down as not shocking. Foreigners. The reason why it's not shocking to me is because I live near Boston, which is, they say, the melting pot. But I was just in New York City last week, and this one of the things I said to my wife, I said, this is amazing. Like, look around us, There's people speaking all kinds of languages. I think anytime you get to big cities in any country, that's where you're going to attract all the tourists, or people are going to live close to there that are going to work and try to make a life of it and everything. So not that shocking to me. I kind of expect that London is more of a melting pot and has a lot of different languages, nationalities, cultures. I expect that. I expect it to be very cultured. So I'm not shocked. But I can see where you would be if you've never been to a city.
Pretty much everywhere was represented in London, so that was really cool. And to just hear all of the different languages. Because we feel like, Seattle's pretty multicultural as well, but not to the extent of London.
No way.
I have no idea. I've never been to Seattle, but I'm sure it is. It's a big place.
Just all of the languages and everyone speaking different languages in the restaurants. We'd be sitting at our table and each table was speaking a different language.
This happened every time we went
Yeah,
on
pretty
date,
much every time. There'd be like the table of Koreans. We could always hear them because
Korea!
we understand a tiny bit of Korean, so we were like,
We lived in Korea for 2 years, for those
so
of you
we're
who
like,
don't know.
the Koreans, French people, Eastern European people, just everywhere. Number two,
the subways are really small. It was actually shocking because our experience with subways is in Korea and Japan, and these subways are very wide. There's lots of standing room. They're also very tall, but the tube, as it's called in London, actually looks kind of like a tube. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go shock on this one. Seeing like the curve and how even when the guy was standing there and how small the tunnel is. I've been in Boston, New York again, and their subway systems, and they're definitely much bigger underground. Plenty more room on the platform, and the trains are they're more rectangle, just like the ones they were showing from Korea. So yeah, I'll put this on the shock side. I'll go with them if it's a shock, but mildly surprised. I'll take it. I'll go shock.
Yeah, it made sense.
It's like not tall, or at least the ones that we rode on were not tall, like all the way across on the ceiling, but it's kind of like
a box
curved or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like curved. Maybe not all of them are that way, but the ones that we rode on were that way. So that was interesting.
It was just surprising and shocking how small the tube was, at least the tubes that we rode.
Speaking of tubes, that brings us to number 3. I love how English people wait patiently for people who are on the tube to get off before getting on the tube themselves. That is something After living in Korea for a couple years, you'll know that is not the case. As soon as the subway doors open and the train stops, everyone in Korea is just like pushing everybody else and getting on the subway as fast as they can. So it was nice to go to a place where everyone just stands aside and waits for those people who are on the train to get off, which is what should happen.
This is actually so shocking that the very first time we rode the tube, when the doors opened and everyone was waiting for people to get off, Grace turned to me and made that observation. She's like,
I put this on my shocking side because what they've experienced in Korea with everybody pushing and shoving and all, that's exactly what I've experienced in any of my subway adventures.
oh my gosh, they're waiting for people to get off. What is this? Number 4. This is just a really quick one, but light switches here are different than they are in the States. And whereas in the States and Korea and other countries, you flip on to turn the light switch
You
on.
flip up, yeah.
Flip up to turn it on. And flip down to turn it off. Here,
it's the opposite.
Yeah, from what we've seen, you flip up to turn it off and flip down to turn it on.
Number 5. The other thing that we found surprising when we arrived in England
Not shocking, but it's going on the shocking side because I didn't know that.
was that power outlets have to be switched on to use them. So it has like a little switch next to it and you have to turn it on in order to use electronic appliances. So many times we've tried to boil like hot water for tea or coffee.
Or charge my phone.
And you forget to switch the power outlet on.
Yeah, outlets are just always on. That's, again, I'm going to put that on the shocking side. Ours is just always on. Like, if you're not charging your phone, like here we go, here's a good example. This is my phone charger. It's plugged into the wall. It just sits here, always plugged in, always ready to charge my phone whenever I want to. I don't know if my phone needs to be charged right now, but that was purely for the video and for the proof of the fact that I guess you'd have to say it's charging now. I guess it does need to be charged. All right. Okay, I'm done.
On and it doesn't charge or the water doesn't boil and you're like, I kind of like that though because as I heard someone say the other day, it prevents like children from sticking things into the sockets and getting electrocuted. So I like that idea.
And then also, like in America, when we go on vacation or something like that, you have to run around the house and unplug everything so it doesn't.
It's exhausting.
It's not a fire hazard.
Or even like every night you try to like unplug it, you know?
Yeah. Here.
All right. All right. Listen, you guys are very nice people. All right. You're very, very nice people. You seem it anyway. Nobody unplugs all this shit at nighttime. That's not happening. Maybe in Seattle. I could tell you right now, I know hundreds of people, probably thousands, and I don't know one person who unplugs everything at nighttime. I don't even know anybody who unplugs shit when they go on vacation. I'm being honest with you. Like, I just don't know anybody that does that. I've heard of people, like, I've heard that, like, that's like an old thing, like, oh, you should unplug everything before you leave the house so the fire doesn't start. Like, dude, I lived in the same house for 15 years. If it didn't start while I was there, what's going to start it the moment I leave the house? You know, like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think that, make sure the stove's off, make sure the dryer's not running. Okay, but I ain't unplugging everything. That's a little crazy. It's a little weird. I did want to point something out real quick, actually, though. They were talking about turning the switches on. I noticed that when you turn it, the top, you flip it up, it's on, down is off, like our light switches. So your light switches are different, but the power switches aren't. Aha! I know, like big mystery solved, right? What the hell I'm talking about.
Here, you just turn the outlets off. So that's actually kind of cool. It was shocking, but it's kind of cool, and we'll probably try to do that on our own house one day.
Shocking, I see what you did there.
Number 6, something else that has been a little shocking for us, is that tipping here is a bit different than back in the States. Whereas in the States, when you go to a restaurant, any receipt that you get is going to have a tip line where you write the tip. Here at restaurants, they don't have that. And most cafes don't even have a tip jar. And so it's been really confusing for us to figure out what we do for tipping.
I've heard also that tipping is super minimal here. Like, if at all, it's like just really minimal. So that's definitely different than America, where as a server, you're like 20% or you're a bad table sort of thing.
Question though, for
listen, I worked for tips for years, and I got to be honest with you. When I was working for tips, working in bars, restaurants, and everything, like servers, they get shitty with people that have British accents or French accents because they're known to be non-tippers because that's not your culture. And I get it. I get it. I totally get it. But a lot of people don't. People would be like, I don't want them. They're Brits. Like, oh, I'll take them. Whatever, man. And to me, like, people are people. And I know that most people, when they travel, understand the culture is different, you know? And if they don't, that's fine too, you know? I always end up having a good time just chatting with people. Um, I really never had a problem with it, but a lot of people have a big problem with it because they're like, I'm not waiting on tables not to get tipped. It's like, Jesus, man, take to go with the bad in life, will you? But I also feel like it's such a commonly known thing and maybe because I was in the bar and restaurant industry, but I don't know. I talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people seem to know that that's not something that's common over there. So shocked, not at all. That's in the non-shocked section because it's something that's like common knowledge. That's something that most people I think know. I don't know. Maybe not, but I think so.
For the English folk in the audience, when I'm at a restaurant and they give me a receipt that doesn't have a tip line or anything on it, what am I supposed to do? Do I tip, or is that just like a no tip? Yeah, do you leave it on the table, or is that just like we all agree that there's no tipping going on in this situation? Please let me know down in the comments so I don't make any.
Pretty sure it's mostly not tipping, right? And maybe I'm wrong.
Social faux pas.
Number 7. Real quick, I was just going to mention that in grocery stores here in England, they generally have a much larger selection of cheese than they do back home in the States, which I'm not going to complain about. I love that.
It's amazing.
I think it's just a lot more in the culture here, I guess, than it is back home. Whereas back home, you usually only have like a couple different kinds of cheese to choose from, and
Cheddar,
not like
Gouda.
Yeah, not like mozzarella or Parmesan.
Mozzarella, yeah.
Not like specialty cheeses. Here you'll have like many different types, and they'll be different ages as well.
Number 8.
All right, I would like to talk about cheese for a moment, please. I'm going to go not shocked on this one because it didn't seem to me from the little video clips they were putting in there from what they were talking about that these people are very cheese cultured. They seem like great people. I'm not knocking them, but I just don't think that they're very cheese cultured. And B, it doesn't. I don't know. It looked like they were kind of in a specialty shop. Is it grocery stores usually open air markets like that? Because that's what that looked like that they were at. If you go to a specialty market, stuff like that, you're gonna get the same exact experience over here. Most grocery stores I find over here have 2 cheese sections, actually 3 if you count the deli. So the deli has a smorgasbord of cheeses to choose from that you can get, sliced. Then there's also usually like your basic cheeses where it's the ones that she just listed, and those are in one area where they're in sliced, or you can get some of them shredded, some of them just in blocks. You can cut them and eat them with crackers. And then there's usually almost every grocery store has like an area. Usually it's kind of by the deli, but with all the specialty cheeses, the bries and blue cheese and the gorgonzolas and like the crazy cheeses. But there's a lot of freaking cheese at our grocery. There's a lot. There's 3 different areas we can get cheese. There's the regular cheese section. There's the specialty cheese section. There's a deli, which has a little bit of each. Maybe things are that different in Seattle. I mean, that's where Starbucks is from. So, I guess if Starbucks is from there, then everything might be as fucked up as Starbucks. I don't know. Starbucks is such a wasteful, ridiculous corporation. I don't want to spend $9 for a not coffee. And their regular coffee tastes like shit. Anyway, back to cheese. I'm going to respectfully say that these people are wrong, and it could just be the part of the country they're from over here. In my state, grocery stores, tons of cheese. And if you go to specialty cheese shops or like a market, you're really getting deep into it. And kind of like where they were at.
This is one you hear a lot, probably, but we don't know which direction to look when we cross the road. And this is for a couple of reasons. 1, people here drive on the left side of the road, and so that's confusing. But 2, there are also a ton of one-way streets here, both in London and in the villages that we've been in and towns. Lots of one-way streets that aren't obvious one-way streets. And so when we cross, it is so confusing to know
which way to look.
And so
it's quite dangerous, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I am in fear of being struck by an automobile. That sounded ridiculous.
That was yeah.
I put this on the not shocking side just to put my 2 cents, and then we'll listen to the rest of what they have to say about it. But it's not shocking to me because the traffic does go opposite ways, so I would expect to have to look the other way. But I was taught, and I think that this is how they teach it in every elementary school across this country. And I know that I've taught my kids this, and I know they've learned this in school, that you always look both ways before you cross the road. If you stick to the same logic, you should be pretty safe.
Working on our English accent.
That wasn't an English accent. That was just
wasn't?
me.
Sounding like an English person.
In London, though, there is a nice. I think it's so polite and courteous how they put on the ground like, "Look this way."
Yeah.
It's so funny. Before crossing the street, there's like paint on the sidewalk that says "Look left" or "Look right" or "Look both ways." And so
Yeah.
I
Just always look both ways.
thought that was kind of cool. I was like, "Oh,
That was really good.
these English folk have our back."
They know
Maybe.
we're stupid.
Number 9. This is more of a question, but it was also a very big culture shock. Why are there 2 separate spigots for hot and cold water?
I know the answer to this. It's because the hot water used to be in the attic, and the dead rats would get into it, and it was gross. But it was fed down through, and that's where the hot water was. I went through this in another video a long time ago. I know why, but it's not a shock at all. Not a shock at all because I'm from New England, and up here in New England, there's a lot of old houses, and a lot of old houses means that, I mean, almost, I don't know, a good chunk of people that I know that don't have a house that was built in 1990 or later have 2 spigots in their bathroom, a hot spigot and a cold spigot. It's not very uncommon. It's just not. It is if you live in it, like, so they're from Seattle, very new, modern, developed area. So for them, oh, total shock. For me, no. I grew up with 2 I have 2. So proud of myself. Look, you can see paint. You see paint on my fingers? Look, you can see paint, right? Look at that. I just replaced the bathroom sink, the complete sink, new cabinet underneath it. It's a 2-day project. The first time I've ever plumbed. Give myself a little pat on the back in this video. Good job, Squirrel. And I converted my bathroom sink from 2 faucets to 1. That's right. I did that. That's me. But yeah, I don't. It's so funny. I just did that. Here's the paint. Oh boy. Anyhow, yeah, this is not shocking.
This, like, somebody please explain. I don't understand this. Like, do you want to wash your hands in freezing cold water and not kill any of the germs? I don't know if that's correct, but whatever, that's what I think. Or do you want to scald yourself so that you can't even feel and then you have to be fed by your husband for the next few days?
Put a plug in this sink and run them both, and then wash your hands in the warm water. Pull the plug out. I mean,
Like,
Yeah.
choose.
It is very confusing, and this is not just something we've seen in homes, but we've seen it in museums, in churches, in cafes, and
It's like
restaurants.
everywhere in the restroom.
Yeah.
It's 2 separate.
2 separate spigots, and you get scalding hot water, or you get
Ice.
freezing cold water.
And so, like, what I was doing, I know this
You
is
just stand up and
ridiculous,
go and
but yeah,
throw
I was
them
just
together.
like throwing them together and like. Somebody explain, because somebody's got an explanation for why
there's a
this is
reason.
better, I'm sure.
Explain it to us.
It's not.
Number 10, it was shocking to us how much people jaywalk here. We had been warned by friends that, hey, just so you know, in London, it's okay to jaywalk.
there's no jaywalking law, is there? I think that's an American thing. I've always thought it was anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but here, if you're within 200 feet of a crosswalk, you have to use it. If you don't, you'll get a jaywalking fine. This is like an old thing, just to catch you guys up. I don't know anyone that's ever got a ticket for jaywalking. I don't even know if it's something they actually give tickets for anymore. I'm sure in big cities they do. Again, they're from Seattle, big city, so maybe that's why. But typically, jaywalking, not a thing. Not at all, actually. And it's very common for people, especially in cities, though, like big cities like New York and shit. People just cross the street when they can. So I'm surprised with them being from Seattle that this is a shock to them. And I think it's a law in the United States. I don't know that it's the other countries. So this wouldn't surprise me at all. It really wouldn't. But again,
But when we came here, it was just surprising to see how frequently everyone jaywalks. Literally everyone jaywalks all the time. Yeah, it's constant jaywalking. And we're coming from Seattle, which is, I think, in the United States, we are famous for being a city that no one jaywalks in. So it was really shocking to come to England and no one, it's just like
Constant jaywalk.
a city that no one jaywalks in. Okay. Well, there you go. That's why they're shocked, because they come from the one city in America that nobody jaywalks in. I don't know, man. I really like these guys. Don't get me wrong. That was a crazy statement, because I've never been to Seattle, so maybe Seattle's just real pricks about it with the police. That could be it. Very well could be it.
Jaywalking. Look, look, run. Look, look, run.
Which makes you feel extremely stressed out as foreigners because we don't know which way to look. So we're like, oh, we have to.
Both ways. Sorry. So true, though. Look both ways, run. I mean, I don't know. I guess I was just, I don't know, just confused by this. Like, this is how I've always crossed the street. Look both ways, run across the street. I don't know. I don't know why that's stressful. I don't know.
We can't just wait for this light, which is going to last forever. We
Yeah.
should jaywalk, but then we don't know which direction the cars are coming from. So if we jaywalk, we might die. So it's kind of like.
And then you know who the foreigners are because they're the ones
They're
that
the
are
dead
waiting
ones.
for the light.
Oh.
Or
Wow.
that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you've ever visited England, do drop a comment down below and let us know what culture shocks.
Haven't visited England, but I hope to maybe someday. All right, so 6 not shocks, 4 shocks, mildly shocking, 4 things I might not have known. There was nothing really shocking to me, but I don't. Everybody's different, you know. It's just like those videos where people like, you know, I heard a firecracker and I hit the ground because there's gunfire all the time. Those people are from Detroit, by the way. It's not the way it is over here. Not all the time, but I get it. I understand. Before everybody jumps all over me, we went through this in the other video. I get it. Times are changing. I get it. It depends on where you're from. It's different, you know. We're a big country, 50 states. State by state, things are different, you know. In some states, you can marry your cousin at 13 years old. There you go. Not even sure about that. Wow. Parental permission, of course. Whatever. I don't know if that's real. People always joke around that, you know, oh, in that state you can marry your cousin when she's 13. I don't think it's a real thing, but I'm sure like 15 maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I appreciate these guys putting this together. It was a cool list. I'm not trying to knock them in any way. I hope nobody takes it that way. We're just from different parts of the United States, and cultures are different over here and state to state, just like they're different over there. And you know, I'm sure things are different in London than they are in, you know, Yorkshire. You know, so. I just, you know, it's just the way it is. That's all. These people come across as very genuine, nice people, and I'm sure that I think the word "shock" twice in the title is a bit much. It's nothing really a shock. I'm blown away that they don't know how to cross a road, though. That part really gets me because, like, I just thought that was what we taught everybody: look both ways before you cross the street. And you would figure after a little while that you'd understand if, you know, standing there, like she was saying, like, we're standing there, I don't know what to do because I don't know which way the traffic's coming. Well, if there's no cars at all, then there's no traffic coming. But as soon as you see one car, you know which way the traffic's coming. Yeah. Huh. Anyway, just saying. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy this. I tried to make it a little fun. I enjoy these 2 people. I think they're really cool. I really do. He's got a lot of good energy. They both got a lot of good energy. Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of adorable almost, the both of them. You know, I don't mind them at all. Good people, I think. And they just, again, we're all from different upbringings, so it's a little different for all of us. I'm blown away that nobody jaywalks in Seattle. That was a big statement. I gotta go. You guys be good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought, and let me know if there's any more videos from these folks that you think I should check out. I'll catch you soon. Scroll out.